Hey, what's going on, everyone? I'm Andrew at St. Croix Cards, and this is SlabStox FC World Cup Show. Welcome in. It's good to have you guys here. And can I just say, it was great to have a little bit more World Cup football in our lives. I honestly did not know what to do with myself as I waited 2 days, only 2 days. We waited, how many years, but I waited 2 days. I'm like, I need the quarterfinals. And to me, I do not think they disappointed. So my question for you all is, what was the best game that you watched in the quarterfinals? Which one did you kind of circle and say, you know what, that one lived up to everything that I wanted? Now, the one thing that I've learned in this World Cup in Qatar is to expect the unexpected. I looked at this bracket before those games and I thought, you know what, this is pretty straightforward. We're going to get Argentina, we're going to get Brazil, France or England. I'm okay with either one. It's going to be a great game. And of course, Portugal is going to roll through after their 6-1 drubbing of Switzerland. Expect the unexpected, right? That is not how it played out. And it was fun to watch. As someone who is just excited to watch, the U.S. men's national team is out and really don't have a country of vested interest. Now I have my favorites and who I think are going to do well and who I think are going to come out on top. But to watch these countries as kind of like a bystander was pretty incredible. But, one of the things that I learned, just in the quarterfinals is I give it up to all of these players at the World Cup. I mean, you saw the joy in winning and just the devastation in defeat. And I think it struck me, and I don't know if it struck you, but it just struck me of like the pressure that these players are under and the weight of the entire nation on their shoulders. I think I saw that most in the Croatia versus Brazil game, and just the Brazil players after the fact. You can support Messi, you can just support Ronaldo, Neymar, Modric. You can have your favorite players, but I just have an appreciation of these players who go to battle for their countries. And you see how much it means to them at the end of it. So, but this was one of my, just a great game. I don't think many people gave Croatia a chance, and they've been there, they've done that, right? 2018, they were in the final, and they just find a way to grind it out and win. And a lot of that has to do, and today's episode is going to be a lot about defense. I know a lot of times we like to talk about the flashy strikers. We like to talk about the wingers. We like to talk about the goal scorers. But sometimes when push comes to shove, it comes down to defense and goalkeeping. And Dominik Livakovic, the Dynamo Zagreb goalkeeper, 27 years old, had a great game against Brazil, got a penalty save in the shootout. But this is kind of bringing us full circle to our theme of kind of those fringe players, right? Those guys that we don't really talk about. Or, if you say Croatia, nobody's saying, oh, yeah, Dominik Livakovic. No, you're probably saying Modric. You've got other names, Perisic. You got other names that you're going to bring up before you bring up the goalkeeper. And pricing and what cards have done kind of reflect that as well. And so I wanted to show that, because in a penalty shootout, when the world is watching, Livakovic is out there in front of everybody. And he is a big reason why Croatia is moving on. And so this is his 2021 Mosaic UEFA Euro Genesis. So this is that case hit, this is that super short print. But this sold October 3rd. So we're way before the World Cup. This card sold for $7.99 raw. Now, fast forward to Croatia moving on into the semifinals. December 9th, this card sold for $29.99. So one of the things that I think I've kind of, beginning to understand a little bit more in a World Cup, because we really haven't had a World Cup 2018 where the market is what it is, right? We've kind of grown into this. And what I've realized is, coming in, there are a lot of players who had really high hobby values. And it takes a lot of their performances to really push those cards further and further forward. But when you guys have role players or guys that a lot of people don't know of, or, they put in great performances, you're seeing those kind of hobby significant being extremely low, or not really relevant in the hobby, where prices are under $10, under $5. And then they put in a performance or something, a really great event happens in game, and you do see a bump in price. You do see that price move up, and sometimes pretty substantially. I would say, from $8 to $30 is a pretty big increase as Croatia continues to move on in the tournament. So that was the first one. And then the other one that I do want to just to touch on is Josko Vardiol. This is the RB Leipzig center back, 20 years old. 20 years old, the masked man at the back for Croatia. And for me, the question now becomes, I think he's had a phenomenal tournament. And I think he's been kind of linked to other clubs in Europe at 20 years old. And I think, a bigger price tag is imminent. A transfer at some point is going to happen. But my question for all of you today is, if you had to pick a young player of the tournament, is he your young player of the tournament? Or do you have someone else in mind that you think is more deserving than that young player of the tournament? I would argue, he has been an absolute rock at the back for Croatia. When I'm watching the games, it just seems he's always around. He's flying to the ball. I think he's had a phenomenal tournament, and his pricing has kind of shown that as well. And so I picked out the 2022 Panini Prism World Cup. This is his maroon out of 22. Absolutely love this parallel. I'm pumped that it was put in here. It's out of 22, maroon, kind of for the World Cup in Qatar, that their color, of the flag, also 22 out of 22 because it is 2022. But Vardiol's card sold November 28th, so just about a week into the tournament. This one out of 22 sold for $56.55. Now you fast forward just a couple of days. On November 30th, it sold for $84. And then after Croatia beat Brazil on December 9th, this card sold for $200. Now, all three of those sales are raw, but you can see a steady increase in pricing as he continues to play well in the tournament. And I would argue he should be considered one of the top candidates for Young Player of the Tournament, or the top candidate for Young Player of the Tournament. But I would love to know your thoughts. Who do you think is in line for that Young Player of the Tournament as well? But they've gone deep into the tournament. They are rolling into the semifinals. And I think that Vardiol is a big piece in that. Now we have to talk about Argentina, as they also have moved on into the semifinals. And at the 82nd minute against the Netherlands, it looked like it was going to be smooth sailing, right? It was 2-0. Everything looked good. And then the next thing you know, it's 2-2. It's into extra time. And you're wondering, are we going to see Brazil and Argentina bounced? I was excited for maybe a Brazil-Argentina semifinal. And then all of a sudden I'm thinking, are we going to get Croatia-Netherlands in the semifinal? So it kind of got turned on its head really quick at the end of the game. And then it goes down to penalty kicks. And we know that Argentina come away victorious. Now, I am wearing my Arsenal, an older Arsenal kit today for this reason, for Emiliano Martinez and Olivier Giroud, who we'll get to. But these are two former Gunners who are still actively involved in the World Cup, and I love to see it. Emiliano Martinez did get the transfer to Aston Villa, but he played a very, very key role in those penalty kicks in Argentina's win against the Netherlands. And again, another goalkeeper. Some of you might be like, why the heck are we talking about goalkeeping? But to me, in tournament play, goalkeeping, it sometimes comes down to goalkeeping, right? I mean, we've seen so many penalty games go to penalty kicks. I think this is number 4, if I'm not mistaken. But we had 2 here. We had Brazil and Croatia, and the Netherlands and Argentina go to penalty kicks on Friday. That was yesterday. I am filming this. This is Saturday, right after the set of games today. But here is just some great examples of again, these fringe guys, guys that, you say Argentina, people aren't saying first name that comes to mind is Emiliano Martinez. No, it's Messi. We all know that it's Messi. But take a look at this. This is 2022 National Treasures. Now, this is the timeline materials. So this is a patch out of 99. It sold November 7th, 13 days before the start of the World Cup, for $6.50. Now, another one sold November 26th, so we're a week into the World Cup. It sold at auction for $3.50. $3.50. And then After Argentina's penalty shootout win against the Netherlands, there was a best offer accepted on this card for $33.99. It might be, the time where you're like, you know what? I have a little bit of NT. I got to see if there are any Emiliano Martinez cards in there, because I don't think people are pulling those out either. So both of these examples I think are just great of players who make an impact for their team when it matters the most, right? When you need a save or you need, a big stop in penalty shootout. And here, Emiliano Martinez catapults Argentina into the semifinals. And we are still talking on Saturday night. That's when I'm filming this. We are talking that it's possible that Messi gets his World Cup. And now Argentina is set to take on Croatia for a trip to the World Cup finals. And the stakes could not be any bigger than they will be next Tuesday and Wednesday. Another upset, expect the unexpected. Portugal comes out, and just takes it to Switzerland 6-1. And then they take a 1-0 loss to Morocco. Yusuf En-Nesyri is the Sevilla striker. And it's crazy because he has 2 Champions League goals. He now has 2 World Cup goals. And in 10 games in La Liga, he has 0 goals. But he gets the 1 goal that matters for Morocco. And Morocco, congratulations to Morocco, the first African team ever to make a semifinal appearance. And it has been so much fun to watch them in this tournament. They have been stout defensively. They have only given up 1 goal in this tournament. And the crazy thing is it was an own goal. They have not allowed opposing competition to score goals. And when you play good defense, and you get just enough offense to win games, you can go pretty deep in tournament play. And they are proving that as they are rolling into the semifinals with massive support. It just seems to me, and I'm not in Qatar, but it seems that the crowds are supportive of Morocco, and it's great to see. But En-Nesyri, you can see a movement in his prices as well. So again, I'm going to go to 2022 Panini Prism World Cup. This is his Red Mojo. This card is out of 99. This sold November 25th at auction for $1.25. It sold, December 1st for $9.99. And then Morocco knocks off Portugal. His goal gets them into the semifinals. And this card sells at auction for $25.99. So you do see a steady increase in pricing as Morocco makes an even deeper run into the World Cup and gets into the semifinals. So again, I think the theme here today, these fringe players, these guys that maybe were not on people's radars before the tournament, and now all of a sudden they're making massive impact, massive moments, and we're seeing their prices move up. Now, does that mean that prices are moving up for every player who does anything remotely good in the World Cup? No. But it is fun to see that these guys are seeing some hobby significance based on the performances that we're seeing on the pitch. So that was a great one. The other one we got to talk about is Bono. To me personally, could be having the tournament or, the Golden Gloves. He could be the keeper of the tournament. Also, it's interesting that he also plays for Sevilla in La Liga. And some people have talked about him being one of the top, if not the top goalkeeper in La Liga. I don't know about that, but I think, he has done quite well here at this tournament, especially. And I think, you also see prices continue to rise for these goalkeepers. Who would have thought that I'd be sitting here talking quarterfinals, and getting into the semifinals, and I'm talking about 3 separate goalkeepers. But again, we're gonna keep on the Prism train. This is the purple Prism. This is out of 199 before the tournament. $2.25 that you could have had a Bono rookie card, and then November 18th, just a few days before the tournament, it sold for $3.25. The 23rd, it sold for $1.25. So any of those sales under $5, and then finally after Morocco seals their trip to the semifinals, the first African team. Wow, that's incredible. $32. $32 is what it sold for. And so you do definitely see a price increase for Morocco as well. But we do have to talk about the marquee game. When you looked at any of those games, my eyes instantly went to the implications of France versus England. Now, I was super pumped for this game. I was super excited to see how it was going to play out. And I really didn't know what was going to take place. And I would love to know what you thought predictions beforehand. For me, the storyline leading up to the World Cup for France was injuries. Pogba's out, Kante's out, Benzema gets hurt before the start of the tournament. The list goes on and on and on. You even have Hernandez get hurt in the first game. He's out. So Theo's been playing, in his place. And for me, it was one of, well, can they handle, are they deep enough to make things, to make a run? And I think personally, this is just me, but I think with some of the injuries that have taken place, you've gotten some, an injection of a little bit of youth and senior leadership, right? You've gotten a couple guys that have kind of pushed their way into the lineup that aren't superstars, aren't looking for the ball at all times. They're great team players. And the guy that I'm looking at on the screen right now is Olivier Giroud. I mean, just a team player. He is gonna put in his shift. He is going to do his absolute best, and he is going to give it his all for the shirt. I go back to the Arsenal, and just I think he scored 105 goals for Arsenal during his time, and I appreciated him, but I think a lot of people undervalue Olivier Giroud and what he can do and what he brings to the table. Seasoned veteran. He's in Serie A now. He plays for AC Milan. And he continues to just be the ultimate professional. And here, you had France versus England, the battle of the Titans. And for me, what a great start for Aurélien Tchouameni. His goal from outside the box gets France off the mark, up 1-0. And for him, I mean, I did not expect him to score goals, right? I mean, I kind of view him as that defensive midfielder. You had him kind of take over at Real Madrid for Casemiro, who then was transferred to Manchester United. But you definitely saw a movement in pricing for Tchouameni when after the game here today. And I'm just going to highlight that November 30th. Again, we're gonna stay on the Prism train. I know a lot of these are Prism, but it does give you a good indication because this is also new product. And I think that has to be taken into consideration as well. So a lot of the times when new product is released, those first prices tend to be a little high, and then they kind of come off and come down over time. But for some of these guys, their pricing, they were selling at certain prices, and now they've performed extremely well in the World Cup. And that price, not all of them, but some of them, their prices haven't come down. They've just steadily increased over time. So this is his Panini Prism World Cup. This is the Purple Wave out of 99. These are all raw. Again, November 30th, it sold for $37. And then fast forward to December 5th, it sold for $50. And then after the game today, one sold at auction for $100.99. So very young, talented player for France, does have the RC logo on this Prism World Cup, but he is on a great club team. He plays for France. He's been in the lineup for the entire tournament. I think it's the entire tournament. Maybe he got a game off there at the end of group play. But just incredible to see. Gets his goal, and you do see kind of prices dictate after that goal. Because now we're in the knockout stages. It tends to happen this way, right? Where something happens and there's a direct correlation for some of their card prices. But for me, it was about Olivier Giroud, that header towards the end of the game that put him up 2-1. It really was unfortunate. Harry Kane gets the penalty and then gets a second shot at the penalty and skies it. Again, I am an Arsenal fan through and through, but you just feel for him. You feel for Harry Kane. You feel for England because I thought, they had a real shot at winning that game. And for me, I thought Olivier Giroud gets his goal. He's past Thierry Henry, another Arsenal legend, and he's the all-time goal-scoring leader for France. I think that's a holding place because we know that Kylian Mbappe is coming up behind him. I think he's at 52 goals. I think that's where he's at. And Mbappe's already got, 33 international goals. So it's only a matter of time before Mbappe overtakes him. But for me, I thought, he gets this goal, great moment. France is looking to move on into the semifinals. I wonder what his card pricing is doing. Now, this is one sale from the 10th at the time of this recording on Card Ladder Pro. Love going there. You can see all the pricing, see the cards that I've sold. I went to look to see what Olivier Giroud cards were doing, and there were only 4 sales. I mean, you got goalkeepers, you got defensive, but you got defensive center backs, you've got defensive midfielders, and here is the one striker, right? The one striker that I'm highlighting today. I'm like, man, his cards might, he's got to have plenty. He's 36 years old. He's been at Arsenal forever. He was at Chelsea. He's been at AC Milan. I mean, I wonder how many people bought 4 sales. 4 sales. And I was like, wow. But those sales are pretty significant. Now, the first one that I'm going to bring up is the International Ink from 2022 Panini World Cup Prism. This is the silver. This is on a 25, his auto. And it's stayed relatively level here over the course of the tournament. We saw one sell at November 25th. Again, these are raw. Now, one of them is the orange. So I do have to preface that. For $89 out of 25. The silver one is the one I want to look at. November 27th, it sold for $117.50. And then after this game, it's actually down $15, $102.50 at auction. So Giroud's kind of fluctuating. Now I get it. He's 36 years old. He's not, he's not Cody Gakpo. He's not Julian Alvarez. He's not Jamal Musiala. He's not, just starting off his career. But this guy has had a pretty incredible career. And won a lot. He's won a lot as a professional footballer. And so, it's good to see some of the pricing. But then I was looking at the sales, and there was one sale that stuck out to me that kind of was like, you know what? Yep, this makes sense. He has an iconic goal, and then a big card, a one-of-one card sells on eBay. So you can see, Chicago Soccer Cards is selling this a one-of-one. This is out of Obsidian jersey patch, sold for $300 after the game today. So, it was a best offer. Somebody wanted this card for this moment as France looks to kind of move into the semifinals, is going to take on Morocco and look to get their shot. They're defensive. They're looking to defend the title. Can you believe that? Man, I was so, for as many injuries again, and just how much people say, the curse of, if you win it, you don't get out of group, or you can't get out of the round of 16. France has proven a lot of people wrong. They're proving a lot of people, wrong. Not only, the scary thing is the depth of France. Now, the only caveat, and I don't know about you, is, I'm glad it didn't go into, extra time here today against England, because I think, with all of the injuries, they're not as deep as they could be. And I wonder how much, if fatigue is going to play any type of role for France. But for me, to think about this in terms of what could be, I think it's a lot of fun as you start to kind of think about the what if. So now we go to the Golden Boot. Who is in line to take the Golden Boot? And it's a three-person race at this point. These Kylian Mbappe, Olivier Giroud, both from France, are in the top 3, and then Lionel Messi is also right there. These are the only 3 guys that are, these are the top guys, and they're still in the tournament. So Kylian Mbappe leads the way. He did not score today against England, but does have another, shot against Morocco. Messi, of course, is going to get that chance against Croatia. And if I had to pick, Golden Boot winner right now, I don't think Kylian Mbappe is done scoring goals at the World Cup. That's my prediction. I think he's going to get at least one more, if not a couple more. I just think it's his World Cup. He's been playing extremely well. I think England really looked to shut Mbappe down, or attempt to, limit him in the field of play. It's hard to limit him, but they were pushing so far, on his side of the pitch. It just kind of opened stuff up, on the other side, and I think you might argue he took one for the team today, right? He knew they were coming. They had a plan, to kind of take out Mboppe, but when you take out one player, when you start putting multiple guys on Mboppe or on him when he has the ball, I mean, it's just, common, it's just math numbers. I'm not a math guy, but if 3 guys are on Mbappe, it leaves space for other guys in other locations and other areas. And I think, that type of player on your team gives your team opportunities that maybe don't come from everyone else. If you're playing a balance or you're not trying to, focus all your attention on one player, it leaves kind of a balanced defensive attack. I appreciate Kylian Mbappe, and it's really interesting to start to think, we are sitting here at 2022 World Cup in Qatar talking, well, it's unfortunate that Ronaldo is not going to get his World Cup. It's still possible for Messi as they are in their mid and late 30s. And here we're sitting here moving into a semifinal round with Kylian Mbappe at 23 years old in a semifinal. And Kylian Mbappe has still, really, he could have 2 World Cups at 24. I mean, it's mind-boggling to think of just what he's accomplished already. Now, there's still 2 games to go. Don't get me wrong. Now, I'm starting to kind of, play the what-if game, but, and we're still sitting here talking. We're entering a semifinal, and Lionel Messi is still in the conversation. Argentina is still in the tournament, and this just really kind of, for the fans in all of us, right? How incredible is this that we're talking Mbappe and Messi and Modric, and we're talking about the Cinderella story of Morocco. For me, it might not be Cinderella for them, but for me to see Morocco enter the semifinals, to be the first African team ever to do that, that's incredible. And it's been such a fun tournament. But this is what we have to look forward to, right? Now, again, I'm going to kind of take a deep breath. What are we going to do Sunday and Monday, right? 2 more days of no World Cup, and it's going to get real on Tuesday. Tuesday, 1 o'clock Central. That's, I'm Central Wisconsin, so 1 o'clock Central. We've got Argentina taking on Croatia. And again, Messi is 2 wins away from that elusive World Cup trophy. It would be really cool. I guess for me at this point, you're looking at 4 teams left in the World Cup. Who do you want to take home the World Cup? Now, I know we went on the road to Qatar, on the road to the World Cup. At the very end, I had, this, who do I think is going to win the World Cup? And I did pick Argentina. Now, looking at, how they've grown into the tournament, and what they've been able to accomplish, I got to stick with them. I got to roll with them. But there's a part of me that looks at France and goes, it would be really incredible historically if they could go back to back. We haven't seen it since 58 and 62. Brazil did it. And to, then the comparisons can start, right? We love comparisons. And if Mbappe gets his 2nd World Cup by the age of 24, not too many players have done that. Not too many players at all. And one's coming to mind, and that's Brazil, and that's Pele. And now we're going to start talking, where legacy, right, for Mbappe at 20, 23, 24 years old. But we still have 2 other teams. If I don't think many people would have picked Croatia to be here or Morocco to be here. Is there another upset in the making? Is there another, twist to the tail? Because we could all look at these lineups right now, and if I'm looking at these, it's like, well, it should be Argentina and France. But again, this is the World Cup in 2022. And it's time to expect the unexpected. So I'm just going to sit back. I'm going to get my popcorn ready. I'm going to sit back. I'm just going to enjoy the World Cup, because really we are down to 4 more games in this World Cup. We've got the 2 semifinal games. We got the 3rd place game, and then we've got the final itself. And it's really wrapping up too fast for me. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of blast. It's been a blast. I actually was having a conversation with a friend on Instagram, and he said, well, how do you like the World Cup? And I said, it's been great. it's really been great. I've been a huge soccer fan for, over a decade now. I really got into, 2010 World Cup, 2014, 2018. I said really the biggest difference for me is I went through 2010, 2014, and 2018 by myself. I really didn't have anybody to share, my passion and my love for soccer with anybody around me. Like my friends were like, yeah, it's cool. And we'll get into it because it's the World Cup and, it's fun in 2010, 2014, U.S. men's national team. And then not really many of them got involved in 2018 because the U.S. men's national team didn't qualify. So this is, for me, it's been such a blast because I've been able to, experience it with other fans, with other, soccer hobby collectors. And so really for me, it's just a personal thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be able to be a part of this with you. I hope that some of the cards and some of the, the price points have moved up, has been a learning experience for you because it's been fun for me just to kind of put it together and be a part of the community. And so if you have any questions on players as we kind of wrap up, as we get close to the end of the World Cup, don't forget to leave them in the comments below. You can always direct message me on Instagram, Andrew at St. Croix Cards. If you have any questions or just want to, chat soccer, I'm always down to chat soccer. But we're going to wrap things up here today. We got a lot more to talk about, but we're going to have to wait until after these semifinal games are played and we are staring down the barrel of the World Cup final. Hope you enjoyed all of the games this round, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys all here after the semifinals. So you guys all take care of yourself. Make it a great day. We'll catch you later.